Hello and welcome to Warblog. Today we're going to play the Libya-Egypt War, 1977. So it's a war, it's more of a border conflict. I've sort of got Wikipedia open on another screen. I don't really want to bore you too much with the details, but essentially sort of starts off talking about how basically it says relations between Libya and Egypt were deteriorating ever since the end of the Yom Kippur War from 1973. Basically, the gist of it is Egypt was sort of pretty much signing peace with Israel, I think, and Libya didn't like that, and so there was a lot of tension between them, and essentially towards 76 things were getting pretty tense between the two of them, and essentially it's indicating here that Egypt was sort of planning, or at least evidence looks as though it was planning on invading Libya. Had a lot of support from the US government, which didn't like Libya and was sort of supporting it. There's also sort of talk about an Egyptian passenger plane that was hijacked, reportedly working for the Libyan intelligence agencies. So in 76, saying that the Egyptian government was concentrating troops. Now I haven't put the troops on the border, but they're sort of fairly near. You'll see in a bit. Essentially, tensions between two countries had increased during April and May 77 as demonstrators attacked each other's embassies. In June 1977, Libyan leader Gaddafi ordered the 225,000 Egyptian workers living in Libya to leave the country by 1st of July or face arrest. And it's interesting this because it's not the first time that governments have ordered. If you look back at the Ecuador, one of the Ecuador ones, one of the South American wars, it was similarly sparked by one side asking all the nationals of another to leave the country. Blah blah blah. So in June 1977, thousands of Libyan protesters began a march on Cairo as they headed towards the Egyptian border. The Libyans wanted to demonstrate against the increasing likelihood that Egypt would enter into a peace treaty with Israel. On July 20th, as I say, the protest march was stopped by Egyptian border guards. Libyan artillery units fired at Egypt in Salom. Now I'm assuming that this is Salom, El Salom here, and I haven't actually got the artillery units. So there's nothing in there to fire at. Then essentially the next day the Libyan forces carried out a raid on Salom. The raid was carried out by the 9th Tank Battalion and supported by a few Mirage aircraft. So essentially what we got there is the 9th Battalion. Now I've put in another battalion behind them because it says here that essentially to respond to that, the Anwar Sadat and his generals ordered 3 divisions to head to the Libyan border and basically this is 3 divisions quickly beat back the Libyan brigades. So there's plural there. So I've given them 2. I've got a bit of confusion because it's late as ever between their definition of divisions, because a division has basically 4 brigades in it, and I have sort of looked at that. So what we've got is a division with 1, 2, 3, 4 brigades. But then within them, they don't have regiments; they have battalions. So it's sort of as ever. They're not necessarily following the NATO structure, so they might be bigger than they should be. But anyway, I'll start playing. So we've not got the artillery. Maybe I'll put some artillery in a bit. I've used a slightly oversized map. I didn't really need to. I could have cut it off there and not put all this stuff in. But I wanted to give it a bit more. I mean, Africa's always been that outflanking sort of heading south and outflanking type country. I mean, if it was here, it would be a squeeze. We're here, there's plenty of space. There's no harm in that, really. So, going to cross the border. Yeah, okay. Now I'm going to leave these units static. These are only there to represent latent Libyan units in Libya. And that's it. So I'm taking that objective. I haven't figured out sort of a scale yet. Now, what you can see here, you find anyway as well, is there are lots of, I mean, these are big units. There's a lot of them. Basically, that's one division: armour, mechanized, infantry, and artillery. I could have made the divisions up with 4 regiments. Either way, it's overkill. So, however, just to put it into perspective, they don't come on until turn 3. So that's the Egyptians' turn. They've got nothing to play with. The Libyan people, they're just sitting in there, basically capturing El Salam. So it goes over to the Egyptian player's turn. And their units have not arrived yet. Now, it does say in the Wikipedia that they had been building up along the border, and so I don't really want to put them there, sort of, so close to the border. I think, being sort of here or mustering here is fair enough. So we're at minus 14 now, so I'm not sure where that's going. It's going to take a while. And here come the Egyptians, and they also have some air power. I'm not sure whether I want to commit the air power. I mean, in all honesty, I don't think that there's much that I can do now. Just a side note, I still need to put in air to air, which I haven't done yet, so I might do that at some point. Anyway, now there aren't actually any other towns in this whole area. Now there's a military base somewhere around here, but they don't capture it, they bombed it, so I'm not going to put that in there as a target. They took some strategic towns. Now, to be quite honest, this should be in green, this should be an objective. Sort of, as I said, the map doesn't need to be this big. It would be nice if there were some towns down here, but there's none on the maps marked, so I'm not going to just make towns up to sort of, make good with the space. So, yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me try and keep these divisions together. Or not, because this is going to be staggered. That's interesting. 0.45. There are absolutely tons of movement with these new movement rates in there. Even they've got movement left. Go away. I am going to stagger the units just so that I can keep a mental note of what's going on. I'm definitely going to have to make some adjustments to some movement rates, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, equivalent of 7, which isn't too bad, I suppose. It is desert now going across roads. Now, first thing, I might as well just go for it. I mean, what's that going to be? That's going to be, well, it's 9. It's not going to be that 4 to 1, 5 to 1, 6 to 1. Defender eliminated. Okay. Now, I haven't decided how many turns there are in how many days or hours there are in a turn. What happened next is that the well, that's their movement. This is why we've got these things up here. What happened next was that the Egyptians basically invaded Libya, as we're doing here, sort of generally crossing the border. So I'm really just adding a bit of artistic license here in the sort of the way that I'm doing this. I'm going to open up a front line across here, I think. And essentially let's see what Wikipedia says about it. Other Arab states then asked Sadat not to launch a full-scale invasion of Libya, which Sadat and his generals allegedly planned on doing on the 26th of July. Sadat heeded their calls and forced Libya into a ceasefire. The Egyptian army then withdrew from occupied territory. So it's quite an interesting scenario, really, because you know, for obvious reasons. I mean, this is. I mean, what was there to stop Egypt from doing that? I mean, they could have annexed this, or as a punishment, or made some gains. But they heeded calls not to, which I think is interesting. I mean, that was 1977. Okay, well, not much time left, so I'm going to sort of leave it at that. So there we have, in a nutshell, the Libyan-Egyptian border war, 1977, and the Arab states are now calling on the Egyptians to cease fire, and they are. So see you later.